Welcome to NWA Connie Corso's podcast, where we talk all things dogs. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back. Y'all caught me in the middle of my work week, and they kicked the brother's ass today. Hey, so everybody, salute Crockett, salute Dickie Foster, salute CDC. Enjoyed your podcast today. DK9, Exotic Borables, all you guys coming in from Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, everybody's joining in. Special shout out to the Connie Corso Enthusiast Facebook group. I am administrator over there. We got some heavy hitter administrators over there. Tony Scandy, Tim Coffin is the founder of that group. Dennis from Limelight, Rashawn Long. Y'all join that Facebook group, the Connie Corso Enthusiast. What's up? How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you, Laini. Hold on. I'm on the show, baby. Get on now. Okay. All right. Furs of Bulldogs, how you doing, sir? Well, Laini, I'm glad you're here. And we hadn't had a lot of talk about show dogs and handling and things like that, so we'll be asking questions about that. But let's just start off with an introduction of yourself and what you do.
I am an AKC professional handler. I've been handling dogs for 20 years total. Started off as an owner handler. Uh, just showed my own dogs when I could, worked the rest of the time to support my habit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then about 10 years ago, I decided to go professional because I decided I didn't want, 20, 30 dogs at home so I could keep showing as much as I wanted to. And I've always enjoyed working with other people's dogs. I'm a behavioral modification trainer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a pet stylist, and I actually kind of cut my teeth grooming all the dogs that nobody else wanted to groom because they would bite or thrash or act up or whatever. And so I ended up getting a pretty good reputation dealing with the hard to deal with dogs. And I've been a groomer stylist for 20 years as well. Have a really good business here in Valdosta, Georgia that stays very, very busy. And I enjoy that. But my heart's with handling, my heart's with showing dogs. And so I'm blessed that I get to do that for a living as well.
Oh, my, nice. So every day is dogs.
24/7. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my life.
Wow. Okay. So when when did you have you always been like this since a kid?
Mhm.
What was the first dog you had? You
The
remember?
very first dog that we had when I was a child in Jacksonville, Florida, was a beagle named Belle.
Okay.
And that was the most obnoxious dog anybody could ever own. She would break out of our fence on a regular basis. She barked constantly. Um, like we knew nothing about training. My dad was Navy, so he was an engineer. I'm sorry, an electrician's mate. My mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, so none of us knew anything about training dogs. But that was our very first dog. Then we moved to Gainesville, Georgia, and we got a lab chow something mix named Isaac. And I was the one who actually trained him, did everything with him when I was young. I was the only one that he would actually get in the bathtub for and take a bath for. He would fight everybody else.
Right.
So I became the dog person in the family. And growing up, we would always watch the dog show on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
and we would, try to guess who would win. And I was always completely fascinated, but it always seemed so out of reach. It always seemed so elite. It always seemed like something you had to be born in, or you know something you had to apprentice for decades before you actually could jump into. I didn't find out until later that anybody can enter a dog in AKC, and
Mhm.
I actually found out the hard way, about how to read a standard and how to pick a good show dog. My very first show dog was a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and bless her heart, she was a very, very wonderful pet, but she was not a show dog. She
Oh,
was
yeah.
she was a train wreck according to the standard.
Okay.
But she's also how I got into behavioral modification training. She was an abuse case that we took in, and that was the first time I ever dealt with a dog that actually had dead eyes. There was nothing there. And I told my now ex-husband, um, I give her 6 months to show us some life. And if I can get life in her in 6 months, then we'll save her. But in 6 months, if there's nothing, if she's this shell of a dog, then we're gonna put her down. It's not fair to her.
Right.
And she literally stayed attached to my leg with a leash for the first few weeks that she was with us, because she would bite you. She was so afraid of people and so afraid of the human touch that she would straight bite you. There was no question about it. And I remember the first day that I literally saw her spark, her life come back to her. I was just so excited that she finally figured out that we were not going to hurt her and that she was safe. And she turned out to be one of the best dogs. And I wanted to build confidence. So I got into confirmation classes near us. And then my teacher was like, this is how you enter a show. So, of course, I did all this by myself because I'm stubborn, and I entered her completely wrong in too many classes. And so I got explained why you don't enter more than one class. And I met some awesome people, when I started showing dogs, that explained to me why she was just a pet and not actually a show dog, and why I would never finish her. And they were so nice about it. They weren't like, oh my God, that's just a pet. No, it was
Right.
like, this is why she's a pet. So my love for dogs goes back from when I was in elementary school, and it's been going 41 years now.
Right. Um, you do behavior modification.
Mhm.
What has been one of more the challenging experiences with the behavior modifications you can remember, and
Oh,
why? Do you contribute any of it to breeding or mostly to abuse?
mostly what I see is gonna be lack of training on people's part. I won't even say abuse. It's generally lack of training, lack of socialization.
Okay.
And it does have something to do with breeding. We tend to negate that part, but all of these dogs have unique individual traits for each breed that are going to go to why that dog is going to respond certain ways to certain things. A livestock guardian breed like an Anatolian or Great Pyrenees, they're naturally aloof to people.
Yeah.
So if they're not socialized, and then you try to throw them into a social environment, it's going to go horribly wrong. And
Hmm.
these dogs, the only way a dog has to lash out at you is with its teeth. So I, I don't blame them. If you put me in a super uncomfortable position, I'm going to start throwing hands. That's how I can defend myself.
Hmm.
So you put these aloof dogs that have never been told that they had to deal with people into a situation where now me as the groomer am telling them, you have to stand here and deal with me touching you. Not only touching you, but pulling at knots, but putting you in a bathtub that you've probably never been in, doing your nails, doing these things that they don't understand why this needs to be done.
Hmm.
Now they're going to lash out with teeth. So when with my behavioral modification, I rarely run into true aggression cases or true breed aggression cases. It's generally lack of training and socialization on the part of the owner.
Right.
And that's what people have to understand. It's a training issue.
Right. Okay. Um, how many times have you been bit?
Oh gosh. Truly bit, probably less than 5 times truly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I'm
And
I'm also very quick to read a dog's body language.
oh, really?
Yes.
What is some of the language when you're about to get hit?
they get real tense, they get real stiff, they get very calm. You'll see the ears a lot of times will be laid back. You'll see their eyes pretty wide. But the biggest indicator usually is the dog goes still. And I mean like very still. You can feel it if you're paying attention. If you're not paying attention, you ain't gonna feel it. You won't
Yeah.
feel it until the teeth hit you. But
Right.
that moment that body just goes still, it's like, all right, we're gonna avoid that area.
Yeah.
And these dogs are always restrained. I will use a muzzle, but a lot of times I found the muzzle makes it worse. So if I can prevent using a muzzle, I will. I tend to just try to restrain them where they cannot get to me. And we go from there. And sometimes they're a little quicker than me,
Right.
and sometimes I'm a little quicker than them.
Right. Right. So being bit don't detract you. It don't make. Say you got bit by a dog, you continue to work with it. Just
Oh
let
yeah,
them know. Yeah, let them know who's in charge. I'm going to
yeah.
win that battle.
The last time I got bit, but was by a Westie who had some serious training issues. He had been bought for a lady who had Alzheimer's, and the husband really didn't want the dog, and he had his hands full with his wife, and so the dog ended up being in a crate most of its life and being left to do whatever with whatever it wanted to do. Well,
Mhm.
with any terrier, that's about the worst thing you can possibly do. They're very
Right.
headstrong. They're very energetic. They're very, if you're not the boss, they will be.
Hmm.
And so he came to me and it was one of those cases where I thought I had him restrained properly and had his mouth where he couldn't get to me, and he didn't. And he actually bit through my thumbnail. And I continued to keep going. And once I completed what we were doing, which was dremeling his nails, um, I did put him up, went and doctored my nail, said a few cuss words, and then we got him back out and we finished working on him. At that point, I did put a muzzle on him, mainly because when you're in pain, you're not going to react as quickly as you normally would.
Right.
So my thumb was hurting pretty good. We put a muzzle on him. We finished him up. I highly recommended a trainer friend of mine who does a lot of aggression cases, and the owner actually did go ahead and do that. And actually turned out to be a really good dog after that. It took a few months of working with him, but after
Mhm.
that, I could groom him with no issues. I never
Oh,
got
good.
bit by him again.
Right. Okay. Good. Good. Let's pivot into you was going into this, but what was attracting you to the handling part?
I just like being with the dogs. The handling is literally just one-on-one training with the dogs.
Hmm.
And being able to work with that dog and bond with that dog and connect with it, and you're a team at that point.
Hmm.
And it's fun. I love feeling the dog move down the lead. I love feeling the difference in the dog and me as we're moving. And I love when me and the dog can are in sync. When me and the dog are together, that is the best feeling in the world. When I'm handling a dog, I don't know that the judge is there. I don't know there's other competitors. It's just me and the dog, and
Really?
we're doing our thing.
Okay.
And then once in a while, I remember there's a judge there, and remember to look at the judge so I know what the judge is doing. But it's all about me and the dog. It's a dance with us. It's a performance, and I
Right.
like when we can get it right. And
Right.
it's a high for me.
Right. Right. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Hey, brother,
Hey,
we're gonna dock your pay.
Hey,
right?
don't dock my pay, man. Don't dock my pay, man.
Hey,
He
what's
said
up?
it's
Actually,
coming to
just
me.
got back from
Yeah.
Little Rock. I had to take Forte a kennel. He's getting ready to head to San Antonio for the show.
Tell tell
And
that's like he
uh,
ought to have all the kennels he needs now.
yeah, he should. He definitely should. Well, he got a big van. He should be able to take about 20 dogs with him today.
Golly.
Yeah, he got a
Golly.
big. Yeah.
Well, bro, I don't know if you've been listening on, but I just been getting Lainey's early beginnings, and we were just going into her getting into handling, and she was telling me how she pretty much got tunnel vision and she's floating across the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I saw this sister in the show ring, and most of us when we think about dogs and we think about handling big dogs, we think about men. You know, I feel to see a big man with the dog, and he's able to hold this dog that's 100+ pounds. And when I saw her in the ring floating like a butterfly stinging like a bee, I always, when I go to the show, I always look for her to not only be handling a nice dog, but also to be making sure that that dog plays.
Right.
Yeah.
I can only control a little bit of that.
Yeah.
How competitive is it out there? Do y'all be talking shit to each other? What I mean,
I talk shit, but it's just for fun.
okay,
I just like poking the bear and picking on everybody because
Right.
this is sport. You're supposed to be having fun.
Right.
We are not changing lives out there. We are competing with dogs, and it's fun. I mean, we're competitive. We have to be. Otherwise, what's the point? But there's a point of competitiveness where you have to stop. If
Yeah.
you're getting so competitive that you're being mean to other people and you're talking down to them and you're trying to play dirty and you're trying to injure other people, which unfortunately I have seen, or injure dogs, that's a level of competitiveness that I'm not okay with. And I will call it out. I have called it out. If you're going to injure me or my dog, we're going to have issues. Like I'll talk shit all day long.
Right.
I don't mean a thing by it. When we come out of the ring, we're still friends. We'll high five, we'll hug, the whole 9 yards. It's just fun. That's what it should be.
This is a lady. This is the co-producer of this show. He said, "What does shit talking sounds like from handlers?"
Oh God, it depends on the handler.
Yeah.
I know Quinn Brumfield and I, we like to talk a lot of shit in the ring.
Right.
Depending on who's in front of the other, we'll be like, I'm going to catch you and pass you. You better move out of the way when I come around, you know, just talking shit. It all depends on the day.
And to be honest with you, when you're out there and you're competing, you know, it has nothing to do with anybody else, but it can be moments where you're stressful. Maybe your dog is having a bad day.
Yep.
And you need that light moment.
Exactly.
Okay. I've seen people who have been having challenges. They may have a dog and they're having challenges with, let's say, showing the teeth, and somebody's allowed to help them. So it's not, my experience is not the experience that I hear most people talk about who don't go to shows consistently.
Yeah.
You know, every show might not be a good show for you. Every day is not a good day for a person.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, but if you stick with it, I'm seeing that if you stick with it, magical things can happen. And this sister really, she has stuck with it.
I just got back from 3 weekends of shows. One show was literally 10 days. We were down there for 12 days, and that's usually a show I do really, really well at. And this year it beat me. It was to the point where I felt like I was wasting my clients' money, and that's a tough feeling when you're a handler, to know that you made a bad call on a set of shows. But you know, you can only go from past experience, and past experiences, that's a local show for me. It's in my backyard. I usually do really well at that show. A lot of these judges know me. They know I bring quality dogs, and this year wasn't my year. And it's tough. I mean, when you get beat all day long in the ring, it's hard to keep a smile on your face and keep wanting to joke around, and especially when I'm getting paid to win. And I'm getting paid to show their dogs well, but my clients want me to win. My clients want to win. And when you come out of that ring and you've got a second place ribbon or a third place ribbon, or you don't have a ribbon at all, it'll humble you quick. And that having good friends that'll keep pumping you up and keep going, hey, you know, tomorrow's another day, we got this. Right. Having good clients makes a difference, but that shit talking can make a big difference in a day of keeping your morale up, keeping your energy up. Especially at the Seager shows where we're running 6 and 7 and 8 laps at a time. Towards the end of the day, we're all a little tired and a little bit cranky. And so
Yeah.
that shit talking, it definitely helps, us keep going and keep running, and it makes it a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm. You said something. That's a lot of pressure. People are paying you. Hey, my dog needs to win. You know what I mean? That's a different type pressure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough, and you got to have good clients that know you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. You've
Right.
got to have clients that are in it for the right reason. If my clients are only in it to win, they're not going to be my clients for long. And it's not because I can't win, but it's because they're going to get discouraged. I've had a client in recent years that if I got in AKC, if I got winner's dog or winner's bitch, that wasn't good enough. I should have gotten breed from the classes. If I got breed but didn't get a group placement, that wasn't good enough. If I got a group placement but didn't get a group one, that wasn't good enough. If I got a group one but didn't get a best in show, that wasn't good enough. And that's discouraging for a handler, to know that no matter what you do, it's never gonna be enough. And so clients like that, they can go somewhere else. Those are not the clients for me. The clients I want are those that are going to understand I give 110% to these dogs. I give 110% to them. My phone is available 24/7 to my clients. You know, I listen to their concerns. I take into consideration what they need and what they want. My number one concern is making sure the dogs are happy and healthy and are well taken care of, that are in my care. And then we go out there and we try to win and we do the best we can. And as long as I do that, they understand that that's all I can control. I can't control who that judge points to. I wish I could. It'd be great. But
Right.
Let me ask you this. I got some hardcore dog men in the chat, don't we, Jihad?
Yeah.
And one of the main topics, Jihad brought this up. I think maybe we touched on this the last time we talked. But what are your thoughts on, when people say, well, they always say it this way. They say exactly like this. The AKC is watering down the breeds. What are your thoughts on that?
they would have to explain that, because I've seen that in the Seeker world too.
Okay.
You've got the problem that comes in is people are fallible. When people start dictating what they want in a dog, we're gonna mess it up, because what you look for in a dog is not what I look for in a dog, and what he looks for in a dog is not what I look for in a dog. So maybe I want a Rottweiler that is overall balanced, but maybe Jihad thinks that the head is more important. Maybe like my buddy Forte thinks that movement is more important. Maybe another person thinks that, a black mouth is more important. And the judges are the same way. Right. They're gonna look for certain things in the dogs. So I wouldn't say AKC is watering down anything. It's breeders in general.
That's true. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's AKC. I mean, look at all the backyard bred Rottweilers that are out there right now. Who's watering down the breed? You've got Rottweilers out there that don't even look like Rottweilers anymore, by people who don't even know what a breed standard is. They just know what a green dollar is.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good point to start with the breeders. Yeah. Right. Jihad, you got something? I don't want
So I do have something. I want to talk about, because there's quite a few people that come over here that come and they talk about the different dog breeds and conditioning for the show, getting the dog prepped and ready for the show. And of course, the Cunning Corso is one of the breeds that's becoming real popular. I think it's on maybe number 16 of the AKC.
16,
yeah. Is there a difference with the prepping of the dogs as it relates to AKC shows and the way they're showed in other places?
I think for AKC, we probably focus more on the obedience side, the standing and staying. We're more hands-on. We're gonna hand stack the dog, versus like in Seager, where we just allow them to stand naturally for the most part. That's one thing I like about Seager. It's made me a better AKC handler because in Seager, you manipulate the dog through the lead and the collar because you can't touch the dog. Whereas in AKC, I can touch the dog. So the conditioning as far as AKC goes is the dog has to learn how to stand and stay while somebody is manipulating their limbs. And they have to stand and stay while somebody is actually physically touching them and going over them, which for the working breeds can be a little difficult. You know, they like a lot of the Rottweilers, they're either super cuddly or they can be a little, you know, standoffish. So like for the super cuddly Rottweilers that like to be touched by people, I've had several that tried to climb in the judge's lap when they tried to go over them. And then I've also had Rottweilers that tried to eat the judge when they were going over them. And so the conditioning is really getting the dog used to being gone over and touched, and you know, the teeth being examined a little more thoroughly than we do in Seager shows.
Okay.
But as far as exercise, it's the same.
The AKC show, I'm looking at dogs that are way more calmer than the dog I see at Seager shows. So
They're more what?
More calm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
and you have to remember in AKC, we're not trying to overstimulate them to get that stance, that, you know, forward motion.
Right.
The judge is really just looking at the dog overall. We're wanting a calm presence. We still want the dog to be on, but we don't want them to be really on. They're not worried about seeing that high drive at that point. Where in Seager, they want to see that drive. They want to see that, hey, he's about to go chase down that guy 10 yards away, or he's about to go chase down that cow that's gotten away, you know, 2 miles away.
Right.
Laini, have you had a particular dog that was good, Rottweiler that was good in Seager and AKC?
Yeah, I've got one here owned by Reginald Coleman right now that she's literally a 3-point major away from finishing in AKC. She's already a youth Seeker champion. She's 19, 20 months old right in there, I think. If Reginald sees this, he can correct me. I've lost track of how old she is. All she needs is a major. We're hoping to get that this year. We've got a couple of shows coming up where there's good majors and good judges. And then she should finish her adult Seeger champion hopefully within the next couple of shows. I mean, she's a really nice bitch. She's been a lot of fun to show in AKC. She's a little more of a challenge because she is young and she is very high drive. So there's some days where we go in the ring and she stands and she looks amazing. And then there's other days where we go in there and it's 20 degrees outside and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and she would rather go run around and have zoomies and be silly. But that's any dog I show, you know, they're gonna have those days. But she's been rocking it out in AKC and Seager, and I've had a lot of fun showing her. Sue Lynch's girl, her name just went out of my head. Raji, there it is. She's an AKC champion. She's also a Seager elite champion. So, you know, that's another dog that I've handled several times in the Seager world and have handled her a couple of times in AKC that she's rocking it out. And so it's very possible to have an AKC champion and a Seager champion.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So say I'm a new client. I got a dog, and I want you to handle it. How does that process work? And what role does the owner of the dog help to get the dog where you need it to be?
So the perfect client is going to be the person who, starting from 8 weeks of age, starts teaching that dog stand, stay, and how to walk on a leash, and goes out and gets the dog socialized to be held and touched and gone over and look at the teeth and makes it a fun experience. You know, we don't want to traumatize these dogs. This isn't supposed to be traumatic for them. So once they're ready, a dog in AKC can start showing technically in 4 to 6 puppy, just like it can in Seager. And that's just fun for them. It's just to get them used to the environment, the show, the process, the whole 9 yards. They can start earning points at 6 months of age. And I like to start them in the 6 to 9 puppy class because it allows us to start building that bond and allows us to start dealing with any behavioral issues that a lot of times will show up in that 6 to 9 range. They tend to go through a fear period at that point. So we try to work through that. They go through that puppy teenage stage where, you don't know anything. You're not my mom. You can't tell me what to do. Right. And we go through the discussions of, I am your mom and I am going to tell you what to do. But my clients can do a lot at home by just doing the basics of socialization, stand, stay, let me see your teeth, walking nicely on a leash. And when the client's ready, I take the dog, or I do have the option for a lot of my clients that I just show up at the show with them. I take the dog into the ring. I hand the dog back to them once I come out of the ring, and they go home or go shop or do whatever they want to do. And I go on to the next dog. That's the nice thing about what I do and how I like to run my business. I don't require you to bring me your dog and let it live with me indefinitely. Right. If you cannot part from Fluffy for more than, 10 minutes, then hey, I'll meet you ringside. But I do tell my clients ringside can take longer because that dog and I don't have a bond. Mm-hmm. That dog and I have to build the bond that weekend. And that doesn't always work for every dog. I do like having the dogs at least come and live with me for a week or two, just so we can build a bond, even if it's just going to be a ringside dog. Ultimately, the easiest thing for me is honestly to have the dog come live with me. Let me take it to every show that I think it's going to do well at. And then once the dog's done, it goes home and lives on your couch or whatever you want it to do at that point. Mm-hmm. And that is honestly most of the time the quickest way to get a dog finished. I do have a lot of ringside pickup clients, and it'll take me sometimes a year or more to finish their dog just because they're not going to every show that I'm going to.
Okay. So let me throw this out there as a caveat, Joe.
Okay.
I think we got a prospect in Arkansas for you, Cane Corso.
Okay.
We don't have any Cane Corso in the state that has a champion title.
Oh wow!
I don't think so. Yeah.
We're gonna be honored to put that dog in your hand, and maybe the next 4 months or whatever, so that you can campaign them for Arkansas.
Well, that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like Cane Corsos. I've shown 1 or 2 of them.
Okay. So what's the difference in big dogs? What do you prefer to show? Well, you might not want to say that.
A well-trained dog. That's what I prefer to show.
Good yeah, that's a great answer.
So let me ask you this. I had somebody kind of explain it to me last night, and I've had it explained to me somewhat before. But I think we don't have it's easy for you to explain how to move a dog and title a dog in Seager shows. Kind of pretty easy. But it seems like it's a little bit more complicated. The parts move a little different in the AKC. What is this about? A major? Explain that. What is that about?
So AKC's point system is to obtain a champion title on your dog. You have to have 15 total points with what they call majors. You have to have 2 of those from 2 separate judges. So a major in AKC is considered 3, 4, or 5 points. And the most points you can get in any one show is 5 points for your dogs. So the way AKC determines how many points that day's competition is worth for your specific breed is they have an algorithm. And they decide that 52 dogs were shown last year in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
And so then they decide that, 52 dogs on average. So a major will be, let's say, 6. And these are all numbers I'm just guessing. I don't know how the algorithm truly works. But every year they release a point schedule. So the one that I can tell you off the top of my head, because it's super easy, is one of the breeds that I breed, the Cerneco del Etna. For 1 dog and 1 bitch that shows up, you get 1 point. For 2 dogs or bitches that show up, I'm sorry, for 2 dogs or 2 bitches that show up, you get 1 point. 3 is 2 points, 4 is 3 points, 5 is 4 points, and 6 is 5 points. So AKC determines these point schedules. So say I go to a show and we have 3 bitches show up. Well, now I know that I'll get 2 points, but that's not a major. So we want 4 bitches to show up or 4 dogs to show up so that we can get a major, the possibility of a major. And we have to have 2 of those. So technically, you can finish a dog in one weekend if you have 3 5-point majors.
Okay, they give you 15 points. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can finish in a weekend. It's very difficult. It doesn't happen very often. Generally, like with Rottweilers, we have a hard time finding even 3-point majors. It takes 8 bitches and 7 dogs to build a 3-point major in the Southeast region. And there are, I believe, 12 regions that AKC has broken the United States up, and each region has its own point schedule.
Okay.
So even though it takes 7 and 8 here in the Southeast region, I may go to, say, like Arkansas, and it may take only 4 dogs or 4 bitches to actually build a major. So that sometimes with AKC, we take that into consideration as to what shows we're going to go to and what dogs we're going to take. So
Okay.
that's basically it's hard, but it's not really that hard. And AKC publishes their point schedule every year. So you can go to akc.com or .org, sorry, and you can look up the 2025 point schedule to find out how many dogs or bitches you need to get a major.
Okay. Let me get this question in from the Connie Corso enthusiast. That's that group. Jihad, are you in that group?
I'm not in that group.
Okay, you need to get in there.
Okay.
I'm curious at what age is prime to introduce your dog to the show ring?
Honestly, if you're talking about actually showing, it's really gonna be determined by your dog and how well that dog can handle quote unquote stressful situations. Do not get me wrong. This is a fun environment, but it is also a stressful environment. There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of dogs. Your dog may be seeing weird dogs for the first time. If your dog is used to only seeing Connie Corsos and then suddenly a Commodore or an Afghan with all this hair walks by, your dog's going to be like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like somebody forgot to shave that thing.
Right.
So it really determines, it's really based on your dog's temperament and how well they can handle situations. That's why I always encourage people to start their dogs off younger. I love 4 to 6 puppy because it introduces them to the show ring at a very young age. And it's just an easy competition. You don't get any points for it. It's just kind of bragging rights if your dog does really well. And the owners do it. As a professional handler, I cannot show in 4 to 6 puppy. I can't even show my own dogs in 4 to 6 puppy. I have to have other people show my dogs in 4 to 6 puppy because they don't want it to be a competition. They want it just to be fun for you and the puppies to come in and get used to the process. So when you ask me what's a good age for your dog, it's all up to your dog. Maybe your dog comes from slow maturing lines and it's going to look like a puppy until it's 3 years of age. You may not want to start it until it's 3 years of age. And that's fine as long as you do all the prep work ahead of time. Make sure the dog is socialized and knows how to have its teeth looked at, and not just by you, by other people.
Mhm.
Because if you're the only one that ever does anything with your dog and suddenly you hand this dog to me, he doesn't know me from Adam and he's never been touched or handled by anybody else, the dog's not going to do well because now I have to teach him other people are okay, including myself. And that takes time. So it really is going to boil down to what your dog can handle and how much prep work you've put into your dog.
Do you see you go to a lot of shows,
Mhm.
and I know you at the top of the show you said people see things differently, right?
Right.
So does that go with judges? Do you have to kind of tweak things with certain judges that
Mhm.
they might see? And if so, what things that could you give an example of you have
Um,
to tweak?
a perfect example is actually got a couple of them. I had this Rhodesian Ridgeback bitch that I was showing, and I showed her to the same judge 4 separate times. She was a young dog. She was still maturing. So young immature dogs, I will show to the same judge multiple times because every day is different for them when that judge sees them. So I showed this dog to this judge 4 separate times. 3 of those 4 times, she dumped me. No ribbon. Like she wanted nothing to do with this dog. The 4th time I showed this girl to this judge, she gave her a 5-point major. And she even asked me, she goes, "Have you ever brought this dog to me before?" And I'm like, "Yep, sure have." And she was like, "Did I do anything?" And I was like, "This is the first time." And she goes, "Huh." And I said, "Look, for whatever reason, you didn't like what you saw the last times. It's fine. She was maturing. She was a very young girl." Another time, just recently, I was showing some Rottweilers to a judge that I respect a lot. I like showing to her. She's a lot of fun. And I could not understand why this other dog beat my dog, because I wasn't trying to be awful to anybody else, and everybody loves their dogs, but I truly believe that my dog performed better and was the better dog in the ring. And she actually came to me and she goes, "The other dog had a shorter loin than your dog did." Okay. That day, for whatever reason, she decided that loin length was the determining factor for her. So, the judges all have their different ideas of what they want in a dog. And that day, and I've shown to that judge a million times. That day, she just wanted loin length. That's not her usual. That wasn't something she used in the past to determine dogs. Just that day, that was her determining factor. And okay, cool. There was nothing I could do about that. I can't make my dog's loin any shorter. I can, if I'd have known that ahead of time, I might have been able to tweak how he stood to make it look shorter, but I didn't know that till after the fact. So the judges, they're human too, and they're interpreting a standard that is not concrete. There's a lot of gray areas in every breed standard.
There is. Yeah.
So you never know what they're looking for.
Right.
And another thing that I noticed is certain judges are leaning on certain things based upon what they see a lot. For instance, a lot of judges from Australia, they'll tell you that they see, if you compare the pigmentation of the Rottweilers in the United States that's in the ring to what you see in Australia pigmentation horrible.
Oh, wow.
So you're able to get away with a little bit more modeling or fracking inside of the corners of the mouth than you could in front of a different judge from a different part of the world.
Yeah. And that's very true. Especially when we have foreign judges come to AKC, they tend to put up different style of dogs up in the ring than our American judges do. And it all boils down to what they're used to seeing and even what their breed standard, because not every breed standard is the same across the world. A perfect example, our Trineco standard here in AKC, our height difference, we're an inch shorter allowable height than the height difference in Europe in FCI. So the Trinecki over in Europe are taller than our Trinecki here. So, and the same goes for Rottweiler. The FCI Rottweiler standard is not the same as the AKC Rottweiler standard.
Right. Absolutely.
What's the funniest thing that ever happened to you at a show?
Oh, Lord. I've had a lot of entertaining moments. I think probably the funniest thing I've had happen was I was a baby handler just starting out. I was helping a friend of mine show a Siberian Husky. And if you know anything about Siberians, they are well known for if they get a chance to run away, they're gone. And I'm in the ring with this beautiful Siberian Husky, and we start to go around, and the lead came out of my hand. And I realized the lead came out of my hand, and I'm going, oh no, here we are about to chase the Siberian Husky all over this fairgrounds. And that dog stayed and kept on track, ran around, and she stopped behind everybody else. And I reached down and grabbed her lead. And I thought nobody had seen it except me until the judge came over and said, "Nice catch." And I was just like, I started sweating bullets because I was like, oh, that could have been so bad. Just actually a couple of weeks ago, I fell in the ring,
Oh,
tripped
wow.
over my outfit and fell in the ring. And the judge was nice enough to tell me that I fell gracefully. So there was that. So
Yeah, yeah. That's what's
it's never dull in the ring, that's for sure.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Grooming.
Mm.
How important is that? And are they real stickler for that in the shows?
It depends on the dog. I like my dogs to be well bathed and well groomed. I'm also not big on chalking or dyeing or coloring if I can help it. There's some breeds you just don't have a choice. You have to if you're going to be competitive in those breeds. But for me, as long as the dog is groomed and cleaned, um, it that should be all that matters. And again, that's a judge's preference. There's some judges that want those dogs groomed to the nth degree and every hair perfect, and then there's those judges that they'll overlook things. I'm a big one. I don't shave whiskers unless I have to. And like with my Seager dogs, if they're still competing in Seager, I can't shave their whiskers and I can't trim up their butts or their chests or their tails. Because in the Seager world, they'll dock you for that. They'll call you out on it. I actually had a judge in the Seager world accuse me of trimming my dog's tail when I actually did not trim her tail. So they'll call you out on that. Whereas in AKC, they prefer if you trim the whiskers and trim up the longer hairs on the dog.
Mhm.
But I haven't had any issues with the judges, not putting me up because I left whiskers on the Rottweiler or didn't trim up, a little bit of long hair or whatnot. Um, so it really comes down to the judges, but grooming is important. I mean, even in the Seager world, your dog should be clean. You don't want that judge going over your dog and it's got poop stuck to it, or when the judge pulls its hand away, they're just black from dirt and grime. And it's healthier for your dog to be clean. I'm also certified anesthetician for my grooming business, and one of the biggest things we learned is your dog should be bathed every 21 days. That's the cycle of their skin.
Okay.
So every 21 days, a good mild shampoo, not Dawn dish detergent soap, that is not a dog shampoo,
Mhm.
Right.
and a good mild conditioner is actually really healthy for your dog's coat to help get that dandruff off, to help get those allergens off, to help get the dead skin off, to loosen up that dead hair. If you've got a dog that's constantly shedding and shedding a lot, regular bathing actually helps prevent that and actually helps lessen shedding. So grooming is very important, even if you're not showing your dogs.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Every 21 days.
Every
Mhm.
21 days. Now, my show dogs, they actually get bathed every week in shampoo and a mild conditioner. And let me tell you, I have minimal shedding in my dogs, and it's great. I love it.
Somebody somewhere right now said, "Man, I don't know what you talking about, man, but that darn dishwasher liquid work, man." You
I
know?
know. But trust
Yeah.
me, it even says on the Procter and Gamble website that that is not for use on animals. And
Right.
all those commercials you see of them washing that oil off of
Off
the
of
ducks and penguins and whatever, they're washing the oil off. The
it's a
problem is
degreaser.
exactly. The problem is you are pulling all the good oil as well as all the bad
Right.
oil off of your dog.
Yes.
And if you're noticing your dog scratching a lot, the reason is your dog's got dry skin because its body cannot replenish the oils that quickly.
Mhm.
So, I guess Tony wants to know what shampoo I use on my dogs.
Mhm.
I actually, because I'm a groomer, I actually buy from a wholesale manufacturer called Davis Manufacturing. I use their Grubby Dog shampoo. I love the smell. It has a nice baby powder kind of smell to it.
Mhm.
I like it because it's a mild shampoo, but it cleans the coat really well, gets all that dry dirt and skin and stuff off. And that smell actually lingers for quite a while. My dogs still smell fresh and clean long after a lot of other shampoos are. And then I usually follow up with Best Shot conditioner. I buy it in the gallon and dilute it down like it instructs you to, and I do a lot of dogs with that, and I really like it. It seems to keep them clean, keep them healthy, and I like the smell. So I'm not a big perfume or heavy scent person.
Okay. Um, what moment in your career that what is the highlight that made you say, "I am her"? What moment was that for you?
Oh God, I honestly don't know if I've truly had that moment yet.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of really cool moments. Um, in the Seager world, I had that moment in Arkansas last year.
Whoop, whoop.
I had a young dog, and Jihad, you know Kratos,
Mm-hmm.
my crazy asshole Kratos. Um, and this dog's got a really cool backstory, and I won't tell all that this time, but that's a really special dog for me and for my best friend that owns him. And this dog was in the youth one class, I believe. And we ended up winning youth Seager that day, and that was cool. Like I was on cloud nine with him just winning youth Seager. And then we went in for best of breed, and we were up against Sue's really nice dog, and we ended up beating him for best male. And I thought that was pretty cool. And let me tell you, this weekend was a bad weekend. It rained, and it was cold, and we were like sinking into the mud. Like I was running in rain boots that I was having to literally pull out of the mud. It was like just sucking you down. It was awful. And so I was given 110% just trying to get these dogs around the ring. And my buddy Jeff was helping me. I had an assistant with me, Michael, he was a trooper, man. That kid, I love him to death. And we went in for best of breed, and we were up against one of Christina Meacham's females. And Christina Meacham, she does a lot of winning herself. So, I kind of figured, hey, if we get best up, that's still a damn good day for this young dog. And we ended up getting best of breed. And I still have to look at the trophy every once in a while to actually believe that really happened, because we beat a lot of really nice dogs that day in some really, really, really crappy weather. Um, and so for Seager, that actually kind of just made me go, hey, I am competitive in this world. Like I haven't been doing it that long, but I really am competitive. And 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 just getting the congrats from all the other handlers, and getting just the pats on the back, that was a really cool feeling. um in AKC, I get those moments quite, I won't say quite often, but they're almost reaffirming moments. Anytime I finish a tough dog, or this past year, I had the honor of being able to show my clients Anatolian on TV for Westminster. We won the breed when we were the underdogs, and that was a really cool moment when I was able to go, hey, this is cool. Like I beat two really big handlers that have the number one and number two dogs in the country. So it's I get moments like that, but honestly, to have that aha moment that I am her, and I'm, I haven't had that moment yet, just because I always strive for more.
Right.
I always know I can do better. There's always a better handler than me, and I strive to be him, or I strive to be her, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I can say I've had that aha moment.
Okay. Okay. Jihad, you got anything else?
So kind of give I want you to kind of give the people I don't know how you could describe it, an ideal of what you're doing, because I watch you in Nashville immediately hop from one ring with one dog to the next.
Ugh.
And I'm out there competing. I competed with a female, well, two females. I
Mhm.
was in an open class with a female that I have here, and there were 20 females in that class. The first day it was 20 females, and then I think the next day was maybe uh, I don't know, maybe 16, 17.
Mhm.
But I was personally exhausted from all of the running, and I'm watching you and Forte and Quinn and some others who are really not even taking a break. Every moment you're getting a different dog, you're hopping in one of the rings. I want to talk about how much in shape you have to be to do that.
Yeah, it's not something that you can, sit on your couch 24/7 and then jump in there and do. It's a lot of running, it's a lot of you've got to be in shape. And I most people don't believe this. This is probably the most I've sat down all day today. My day starts between 7 and 7:30 in the morning, getting up, getting dogs ready, me getting ready to go to work. I have a salon here in Valdosta that I work at in between shows. So, I groom all day, and I'm grooming 6 to 8 dogs a day. I'm not grooming like 2 or 3. I'm grooming 6 to 8 dogs a day, sometimes more. I get home sometimes between 5:30 to 6 o'clock, sometimes later if I've had a really bad day. And it's getting the dogs back out to go potty, cleaning crates, getting dogs taken care of, letting the dogs play in the yard so they're not pinned up all the time, cleaning up any messes that the dogs make. um i I'm happy if I can sit down by 9 o'clock at night, and sometimes sometime in between taking care of the dogs and cleaning up after the dogs, I've got to do laundry, I've got to do dishes. I think I eat sometimes in between all of that too.
Yeah.
I know I use the restroom once in a blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy, and that's just when I'm home. When I'm on the road, we're up at 5:30 every morning. We start showing at 8 o'clock. So from 5:30 to 8, we're taking care of the dogs. Getting them ready for the day, grooming them at an AKC show or at a Seager show, just making sure that they've gone potty and making sure they've gotten all their stuff out of them. Some of them trying to get some energy out of them so that we can run them without them killing us.
Right.
And then we hit the ground running. So you can't be at home and sit on the couch all day.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be up, you've got to be moving, you've got to be out there running and exercising and getting those steps in so that when you're in the ring, you can do 3 and 4 laps without having to ask for a runner. And I'll
Right.
have to say, for the Seeger shows, that is the best thing. We
Right.
can hand off so we can breathe when, our legs give out or our lungs burst or, we get those side cramps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's not easy. And it's funny because Jahag, you've seen how the Seeger shows are run. Now imagine being in an AKC show where you're running between, our biggest show is 33 rings in Orlando every year. And I will usually take about 8 dogs to Orlando, and it never fails. They are never in rings next to each other. They are always in ring 2, which is on one side of the building, and the other one is in ring 33. That's, half a mile away in the other side of the building. So yeah, you can't stay sedentary and then go to a show and expect to be able to run 4 and 5 and 6 laps. You've got to stay in shape. You got to stay moving. And you don't necessarily have to run every day. It's just staying moving, is
Moving.
staying
Yeah.
active.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um, I was reading the comment. Um, I'm getting ready to close it out because I know everybody, this is the middle of the work week. But without mentioning me or Jihad, um, have you ever seen some a breeder of a dog? If you showed it or not, you was like, golly, that breeder always have some good dogs in these shows. And after that, could you tell me some of the top handlers maybe that's been inspirational for you?
Are we talking just Seager or AKC or
All of it.
any? Well, I'll have to say, one of the reasons that Forte and I hooked up as friends is I liked a lot of his dogs that he was showing down in Monticello, Florida a few years ago.
Okay.
So I'll have to say, Forte and I have always kind of, for the most part, seen eye to eye. In fact, the other day he just sent me pictures of some male dogs, and he was asking me which one I liked better and why I liked that one better. And so he's one that I've always, gone, hey, I like that dog, I like that dog. And we've been able to talk. In AKC, oh my gosh, there are so many breeders that I admire and just am amazed at what they produce and how consistently they produce. I have a couple of clients that they're known because people can point out their dogs in the ring because they have such consistent breeding programs. Susan Schrank with Tropical Springer Spaniels is one of my clients who, her dogs when you look at them, that's a tropical dog. My cattle dog client Lisa Bowman, that lives up in Sandersville, Georgia. She when you see a Timber Creek dog, that's that comes out of her kennels. She's gotten so consistent about their breeding programs, and that's the biggest thing with the breeding program is consistency. People should know that that's your dog coming out of your kennel because that's your type, that's your style of dog. um, I've started kind of getting a little bit of that with my dogs, my Ternecki that I've been breeding, and I haven't been breeding long, so I haven't really had a chance to develop a style yet. But I am starting to develop a style, a look that I really like in the Ternecki. Um, there's a lot of Rottweiler breeders here in the U.S. that I really do admire, and I really love the look of their dogs. Um, and as far as handlers go, I know he's not always the most popular, but Jimmy, he's one of the handlers that really has helped me the most get as far as I have as quickly as I have in the Seager
Jimmy
world.
who?
Vagalis.
Okay, all right.
And I know he's controversial to a lot of people, but you know, because he is who he is, I strive to do better because I want to walk in that ring and I want him to be afraid of me coming in that ring. I want him to know when I walk in that ring, he's got competition. And to be the best, you have to see what they're doing. And so I do TK over in I can't remember where she's from. When she
Serbia.
thank you. My
Serbia.
brain fried. Um I blame it on the snow last week. It fried my brain. TK from Serbia, a lot of people, she's controversial as well. But you know what? When she walks in the ring, she's going to have a good dog and she's going to give it her all. And so those are two Seager handlers that, like them or not, they're good at what they do. And I will sit there and I will watch them and if I can pick their brain, I'll pick their brain. And Jimmy has been very good about, hey, next time you show that dog, do this, or maybe you could go a little faster, a little slower. And he likes the competition and he knows I like the competition.
Right.
So we have a lot of fun in the ring. And when I beat him, it's high five. And when he beats me, it's high five. And let me tell you, when you can beat somebody in the ring that you look up to and you admire for what they do in the ring, whether you like them or not, that's a hell of a good feeling. I'm not going to lie. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Right.
And I've gotten to do that with some of my idols in AKC. Esteban Ferraris, Diego Garcia are two huge working dog handlers in AKC. I met them 20 years ago. Esteban, I met 20 years ago when I first got into AKC. And let me tell you, that man knows how to show a dog. And so I would watch him and I would pick his brain. And the way I did this, I literally would just go to ringside and say, "Hey, do you need help? Do you need me to hold that dog while you go back in the ring?" And that's all I did for like show after show after show was just show up and, "Hey, can I hold that dog for you? Is there something? Hey, you need this wet, this cloth here. Let me hand you this cloth." And I would watch how he showed dogs, and I would watch how other handlers show dogs, and I would mimic them, and then that one time that I bettered them in the ring and I beat them in the ring, it really makes you feel good because you're beating the best at that point.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, they'll come back the next day and whoop your ass, and it is what it is.
Right.
But that one time is all it takes to keep you going. And so I do watch the big handlers, whether I like them or not. There's a lot of handlers that I don't like. You will not catch me talking to them outside of the show ring. I don't respect what they do, as far as a lot of them play dirty games, and I won't name names of any specific handlers, but they can show a dog and they show it very well. And so I will still watch them because I can still learn from them even if I don't personally like them. And if you're on top, you're who I'm watching because I want to be that. I want to know how to beat you, and I want to know how to show my dogs better to make my clients happy and to make me feel better. I'm not happy if I'm not doing a good job. So I want to do the best I can.
Man, that's a cold statement. That was a really, even if they don't play fair, you still have to study them because
Hmm.
breeders don't play fair neither. You ought to see the shit behind the scene
I,
that they try to do
I
to each
know.
other. Yeah, yeah. Jihad, I don't have anything else. Do you, sir?
Man, I want you to you have people who are breeding, you have people who are sitting on the sideline wondering should they go into the show ring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have people that are looking for a handler. I
Yeah.
just want you to give in closing, what is the best piece of advice you can give to a novice, a person that's just getting started or wanting to get started to start showing their dog? They may be a little timid, they may be a little nervous. What would you say to them?
Take a shot of tequila and get your butt in the ring.
There you go.
It's the most fun you can have with your dog. And
Right.
that's what it is about at the end of the day. If you're going to go show your dog, do it because you want to have fun with your dog.
Right.
Like don't go in there showing your dog because you want that ribbon. It's a 20-cent ribbon. It
Okay.
doesn't mean a hill of beans unless you're having fun with your dog. When I started out 20 years ago showing my own dog, I literally took a shot of tequila 20 minutes before I walked into a ring.
Yeah.
My nerves were so bad. And that shot of tequila got me through that 2 minutes in front of the judge. And it comes with time. I've been doing this 20 years.
Right.
I didn't start off walking in the ring like I owned it. I started off walking in the ring like, please don't look at me. I don't know what I'm doing. You got to start somewhere. So suck it up, Buttercup. Go get in the ring. And if you find that you don't like showing your own dog, that's where I come in. I
That's right.
love being in the ring. I love being out there with the dog and showing the dog. Um, a final story for y'all to kind of prove this point. I have a wonderful client. The reason she came to me is she was ready to stop showing. It wasn't fun for her anymore. It wasn't the handlers she was using were making her life miserable. She wasn't enjoying being in the ring. She's just not one of these that really enjoys showing her own dog. But all of the handlers she was using was just they were just making her feel bad about being there. She wanted to get to see her dog show. She didn't want to have to go hide behind something while her dog was in the ring. So I was recommended to her. Her and I went and had dinner. I met her dogs. We had a long conversation. It was a 2-hour dinner, just
Mm.
talking about dogs and getting to know each other.
Right.
And so I took her dog in the ring, and her biggest thing was she wanted to be able to stand ringside and watch her dogs in the ring. And I told her, we can make that happen, but it might cost you a little extra money because we're going to have to practice in the ring, your dog paying attention to me instead of you. And she was fine with that. So we went out, and we first weekend out, we did really well. Her dog got used to paying attention to me and not her, and we ended up finishing that dog. She brought me another dog that her other handler said couldn't be finished. I finished him within 3 months. I'm now on to her fourth dog, and last weekend in Ocala I put a group placement on her dog. And she thanks me every day that I've put the joy back in showing. She can sit ringside and watch her dog show. She doesn't have to go hide so the dog doesn't see her. And she loves the fact that we just go out there and have fun, and we end up winning because we go out there and have fun. And that truly, for me, for everybody, is what it should be about. Go have fun with your dog. And if you don't have fun showing your dog, but you want your dog shown, find a handler that's going to make it fun, because that's what it should be about. It's fun. I can't stress that enough. Fun.
Right. Right.
Right. That makes
Well, let me ask you this. A lot of people gonna get interested. Your phone gonna blow off tomorrow. Uh, how do they get in touch with you? What's the easiest way? What's the best way you like to communicate and all that good stuff?
You can find me on Facebook, Laini Liao. That's honestly the easiest way to get in touch with me. That from that point, once we chit chat, I can send you my phone number. You can email me, Belina, Belina handling @gmail.com. But honestly, Facebook would be the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Cool.
sense.
All
Cool.
right.
All
All
right.
right. Well, we
Are you
enjoyed.
San Antonio?
Do what?
Are you going to San Antonio?
I was packing for it right before y'all called.
All right.
I'll be there.
Tomorrow or
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay.
Yep, I'll be there. We're gonna head out tomorrow and probably be there early Friday.
Okay. Good.
Are you going, Jihad?
I'm going. Yeah. I'm
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, everybody, Miss Laini, thank you. Jihad, thank you once again. He's a regular on the show. He probably gonna be the damn co-host pretty soon. But y'all, we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jihad.
All right.
No problem.